everybody, it's Chris, MTGO's RexDart, and we're just going to go over the finished Old School Team America deck list. It went through a few permutations during the development and through play in the two-mans, and you will see a video of a couple of those two-mans that I recorded. But I'd like to go ahead and explain some of the card choices here just to supplement what I wrote in the text. But basically, it is a tempo deck that is heavy on land destruction. It was popular a few years ago and has sort of fallen out of favor. At least the use of some of these cards has fallen out of favor. But I wanted to see whether with all the greedy mana bases and everything that it might be viable again. And I went with the traditional 8 cantrips here, and you run 4 stifles as land destruction spells and to protect your fragile mana base against opposing wastelands, because you don't typically run any basics, although I did add a 21st land from the traditional setup so that I could get a basic island for certain matchups. Daze and Force of Will, sets of each, are your counter magic. You are a heavy mana denial deck, so Daze is usually pretty good. And of course, no reason not to run a full set of forces here. Couple abrupt decays. I put the other 2 in the board, mostly because of casting cost, because these are going to be difficult to cast, but I have wanted those there at need. The 4 sinkholes are obviously they're pretty good on the play. They create situations where your opponent has a tough time playing around. If he tries to play around Stifle by running out a land, he plays into Wasteland, or he runs out of basic to try to play around it, and then he runs into a sinkhole. It creates a lot of awkward situations for your opponent and punishes a risky keep, for instance. So that's what land destruction has traditionally always done. And that is sort of its function here. But again, it's a pretty big tempo play, especially when you consider the amount of free spells that I have available here, that I can blow up one of their lands and then still interact on my turn and then deploy a threat. Deck used to run a full set of snuff outs. I'd cut a couple of those in testing. Those were in the old list from back in the day, but I found that I was having they were dead in some matchups and didn't really do what I wanted to do in others. So I cut 2 of them and replaced with a couple copies of Innocent Blood. And for the beater suite, so to speak, 4 Tarmogoyfs, 3 Tombstalkers, and a couple of Vendilion Clicks. I only ran 3 Tombstalkers because I don't really want to have 2 in my hand at any point. I'm really only going to be able to cast 1 a game under normal circumstances. And really, I could have considered cutting 1 more of these for, say, a 3rd Vendilion Click. I'm not sure. But he just closes the game out so fast that it's great to have him there. So that was the beater suite I went with. I did have the problem of Rest in Peace just completely hosing my entire creature base, which happened in a couple of the 2-mans, one of which gets pictured and one of which is not included in the video, but they really hosed me even worse. So in the sideboard, I wanted to have something that didn't depend on the graveyard to be strong, and I considered several options. I even thought about like Serendib Efreet. I was kind of reaching deep there. Huzam was a fringe consideration. I ended up just deciding to run a few copies of Trigon Predator. I figured, while it's not a super fast clock, it does fly, gives me some action, and it can take care of all the artifacts that I was seeing in some of those problem matchups. And so I included a few of those in the board. And even though I don't have Deathrite Shaman in here to try to power it out early, I still think it's reasonable choice here. A couple of Spell Pierce, a couple of Abrupt Decay, the Massacres that I was kind of toying with against Maverick and Death and Taxes, 4-lane Line of the Void, just because I always have to include at least 4 Graveyard Hate cards, and a couple of Submerge for against opposing green creature decks. At one point in time, in lieu of these Trigon Predators, I had Thoughtseize in place of these, and I think one of the Spell Piercers or Abrupt Decays. But I found that I wasn't really bringing them in all that much. There wasn't a lot of combo deck that I was seeing in the 2-mans, and they just I thought that my deck had a decently fair matchup against combo in the first place. case that it's not super awesome, but I felt that that was not the matchup I really needed to be spending sideboard slots shoring up, and I was having enough trouble with GTAs and Batterskulls and stuff that I'd just rather have these Trigon Predators over here than the Thoughtseizes. So that was a switch that I made in the middle of testing. So anyways, that's the list, and there will be some videos here covering some of the two-mans that I played, and I hope you watch those and enjoy watching me blow up some lands.